Labor Day marks the opening of hunting season, and for Aaron Marks and his family, that means making their annual trip to the Cosna River. Their camp, sitting just below the mouth of the Cosna, has provided food for the Marks family for over 2 decades. This summer, wildfires have decimated the local moose habitat and have the Marks family worried about a lower than normal moose population. Join Aaron and his son Levi as they begin another season hunting the Cosna.
This is my 21st year hunting this kind of the same area. We had to move a little bit of camp back because the river eroded a lot this year on the bank due to the really high water for most of the summer. It's actually still pretty high for this time of year.
I got 5 bulls, and this year I'm hoping to get my 6th. Oh. Last year, we were pretty up close to that bull on the second weekend, and I felt like I had a decent shot on it. Maybe not perfect, but if it was a higher caliber, it would have definitely fell over. So instead of sticking with the 7mm, I think I'm gonna let that one pass on to my cousin a little bit more, and he used a 30-06 that my dad got me over the summer. This year's been crazy so far. A lot of the Cosna area where we hunt is all burnt up. We even have a fire line like 1,000 yards away from camp just to protect our land.
This year we had a very busy fire summer, and there was a huge fire actually behind camp and up in the Cosna area. So a lot of the area burnt up, and fortunately this is the side that's open until the 5th, so this is all we got for the weekend. Towards the end of the summer, right before season, I threw up a little shell of a shelter cabin in case my mom was getting up there and closer to 80 now, and I'd like just to have her have a stable place to sleep and walk. So hopefully we get to utilize that this year.
This morning we cruised up the Cosna and we went to a meadow where we've had a lot of action before. We didn't get that much action this time, except we did hear a cow call, which is a great sign for the first weekend, especially after a big burn like that. I still have a lot of hope for the Cosna meadows, especially is because they're all burnt around it, but the inside and all the grass and the lake and everything, it's all still perfectly fine. Like none of it burned, just everything around it did. So I think that there's still gonna be moose around and just chilling in the middle of the meadow or right next to it. After the Cosna, we cruised down to Tom's Meadow and we checked the blackfish set that we set last time, and it's just a little black box with a hole in it, and I put a sausage and some eggs in there, and it worked like a charm. Got 4 blackfish, one of them are dead. Pretty big ones. There's one big one at least.
I've been helping my brother Peyton and my cousin Levi helping get chickens. I'm hoping to get my first chicken this year if my cousin helps me.
You see Elijah? Here. Grouse is pretty good. I like the way we cooked it this time, but I don't know if I like the leg meat as much. The little wings looking things, I don't like them. They're too bony. But otherwise, they're really good.
There's some meadows behind that fire line that we haven't really been checking in the past because they're so far away, and we're hoping that maybe with this trail that we'll be able to hunt them. So now we're hoping to get behind camp into the little slough where I have a tree stand if the water is high enough. Also check out my canoe to see if it's still in good condition for later in the season when the water drops. We hope to use that to get access back there if it's good.
I think it might be melted. I don't know. I think it's gone. We'll see. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer.
So I'm a little concerned about my canoe since up in the Cosna you could see where a couple boats burnt all the way up to little puddles of aluminum, and we kind of, at the end of this, last time we were up in the slough last year, we stashed our canoe back in the woods of ways that could easily be burnt over as well. So we woke up this morning, cruised up the Cosna to where we heard a cow call the morning before and called around, but we didn't hear anything.
Then we bombed up to Elena's meadow and checked that.
Elena's meadow was definitely a little better habitat this year. I guess the meadow isn't just soaking wet, you can walk in it, and there wasn't that much sign though, just one or two sets of tracks that are fairly recent, I guess.
After we got back from the morning hunt, we ate moose sausages that we got from last year's bowl. We went down to Fish Lake Islands. I like it there because there's minnows in the puddles, and we grabbed a minnow trap from Tom's meadow and brought it over to Fish Lake Islands.
So we're getting ready to do our hunt for the evening down at Levi's meadow. We're kind of looking for a sign and hoping to stir something up. We haven't had much luck yet finding any sign because the fire's kind of destroyed the half of the river that's open right now. This morning we got up and it was a little colder. We went and checked Goliath Meadow and noticed that there's frost on the grass. So it seemed pretty dead, so after we spent a little while there, didn't see any signs, so we decided to cruise up to the Cosna to see if we could call something out while it was so nice and cold out. So we didn't hear anything at all, so we came back to camp, made some breakfast and to get ready to go. And my dog was running around the cabin while we were inside, and then he came up to me, and on the top of his head he had one porcupine quill. So I pulled it off and I looked around. He seemed pretty interested in the cabin, so I looked underneath it and there was a porcupine under there. So now that the weather seems to be clearing up a little bit, the cooler temperatures, we're hoping that the next few days it'll continue to stay cold and there'll be more movement by the moose next weekend.
We will be back next week.